Ah, man. Guys. Black Christmas 2019. Ah. What the freak did I just watch, guys? I just put on my Christmas hat. Since we are in the Christmas season, I spent most of my weekends, doing a lot of stuff. My brother lent me Octopath Traveler to play. It's a great game. How can I say this? Maybe because I was playing Octopath Traveler, it made me think that creating the small stories of Octopath Traveler, it has more heart and ambition than anything that I just saw from Black Christmas 2019. So as you can tell, guys, yeah, I just came back. It took me a while to try to put my things in my head together about what did I just saw on Black Christmas 2019. I was kind of putting my head together on how to come up, trying to eviscerate this movie without feeling like I am some kind of angry guy who is angry about society and all this stuff and all that. But sometimes the problem arises not exactly for me when technically the movie is the one that starts out spouting their nonsense out to me, I'll say. And you know what, I'll get to that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of just rambling out a bit because this is technically the thing that I have to say about this film. And man, that I never expected that after watching the Playmobil the movie, I could find a worse movie than Playmobil the movie, because at least on Playmobil the movie, at least they did kind of like a mess, but at least they were kind of like kids at heart, but a misguided kid at heart. But this one, oh my god, how can I start with this one? Alright, first of all, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning by saying that this Black Christmas, it says that it is a remake from the old, what was it, 1974 movie. You know what? I don't care. I just gonna put it. Yes, 1974. The 1974 movie. I saw it once. I think I want to watch it again. But here's the thing. Despite that I watched it once, I really like it. I really like Black Christmas 1974, and I applaud most of the things that they did, mostly as one of the iconic slasher films that actually tried to do something different. In this case, is one of the few first slasher films in which it says that there's a killer inside the house, and it got the bright idea that they never ever show the killer's face. They never, and so basically the killer is probably the cameraman. There's also a remake. I think they call it Black Xmas because they don't want it to call it Christmas or something like that. I remember watching this one at the movie theaters, and boy, that for a slasher film, it was a little bit too over the top compared to the other one. But it was really stupid. It's pretty bad. The biggest thing that I remember from that remake is the stupid death of one of the characters getting away from the killer, and she just looked up at one of the icicles and then it falls onto her eye, apparently killing her. That was kind of stupid. But now we got Black Christmas 2019, in which they decided to make it PG-13 for the new generation because God forbid that they want to watch the 1974 version. And here's the thing, guys. I don't think that this can be considered a remake because it's so different. I mean, it pays homages, but I don't feel that is different from that is different or tributing to at least the other ones. Because at least in the old one, the one from 2006, at least it felt like it was a remake. This one, it was kind of like another world, but I think this is another movie that is, you know what, let's call it Black Christmas. No, I don't think it was supposed to be called Black Christmas. I think it was another movie called with another name, but Blumhouse Studio decided, hey, you know what, let's call the audience, let's call it Black Christmas. Sounds good to me. So, right on the get-go, before I go into the grand spoiler territory about it, this movie is bad. It's totally bad in almost every single level, but not just only bad in the cinematography, the acting, the script, and everything. This is technically this kind of bad that they decided to become political. Yes, this movie is an SJW, ultra feminist power propaganda of I hate to say this because I don't want to be this kind of guy, but the movie just feels like that way, and I want to tell you all about this movie that if you don't like these kind of things into a movie, you're gonna have a bad time. But for me, I just kind of knew that the best medicine for these kind of things is to laugh. Just laugh at all of the mediocrity of what they were trying to do. And look, I'm not gonna complain saying that any movie many movies can't be political because art can have a little bit of, you know, emotions into ourselves, both in religion, politics, gender, and anything. And I agree with that. You can do anything like that. But it takes kind of like a bold and intelligent approach to put the pieces together to get it right. And to show that you really care about the situation and all this stuff, and not seeing it, you know, like an extremist. Because the more neutral you are, the more you can empathize with others without, you know, offending it. Not in this case. Not in this case, guys. Okay, so anyway, Black Christmas 2019. It's about the sorority girls they're in campus. It's the Christmas holiday, and to make kind of like a big story short, basically they have this hatred toward men because because one of them had kind of like a horrible experience with him both being raped by her ex-boyfriend. This girl is played by Imogen Poots. That's how it says. I'm not trying to make fun of it. And one of them also is trying to make petitions so she can so they can do something against the teacher Carrie Always, who is a misogynistic, chauvinist, sexist teacher. And well, basically what happened is that these girls are grouping together, and then they're being stalked by apparently guys on ropes, that they're killing them. Okay, that's technically my short story version of how can I describe this movie. But the long version is, like I said, it's mostly about these girls going through, apparently the most misogynistic college campus I have ever seen in my life, which almost every single man is a dick. Every single one of them. Even the teacher who one of the characters, the one who is played by Alice Shannon, is trying to get petitions and signs so she can they can fire this teacher played by, again, Carrie Elwes. Oh man, when you think about the original movie, they never had something like that, and this movie's agenda, they kind of push it on your throat. Almost like every 5 minutes of the movie, I'll say. And funny enough is that it didn't kind of start out that way. It just started out with a boring, drag out moment in which it started out with with the girls having a party. One of them, which is basically the stereotypical blonde stupid girl who goes alone and in the street, and you know that she's always going to be the first victim, and she gets killed by these guys on rope. And then, of course, we come and go. We see their main character. They go to college. They talk about about this. Again, the petition scenes, and of course, our main character. She apparently had this experience with her ex-boyfriend, who he almost raped her and all this stuff. And in order to have revenge on him, they decided to have kind of like this Christmas sing-along in front of many others. They give out probably kind of like the lamest quasi rendition of the ho 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 to and fro ho 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 hoop and throw up the deck. And it's the lamest one because they have no energy, no experience, and it was just so lame. But anyway, apparently they think that because this man-dashing Christmas sing-along that they did in order to humiliate the guys who, the sorority that the frat house that is into this misogyny and all this stuff. And yeah, they get stalked by these guys. I want to apologize if I'm talking very, very, very messy. But here's the thing. This movie is really messy on what it wants to be. Because most of the things kind of doesn't make sense on what is going on. And not even, on an emotional thing. Because here's the thing. The first few minutes we got, a character who gets killed. Who belongs to, into the sorority house. And then it just goes 2 days. Just 2 days. In which they don't talk about it. They don't even talk about it. I kind of struggle to pay attention in saying that, hey, did she went to the holiday break and all this stuff? No. It's almost like they forgot that she even existed, and it took them like kind of like 2 days in order to at least get a message saying that, hey, have you seen this girl? And they don't even shrub it off. Because during these whole 20 minutes in my head, I'm like, hey, you know that one of your friends didn't come back. Anyone who's gonna answer? And guess what? She's not the first one. Later in the movie, 2 more gets killed, and then almost act like almost nothing. And it took them like another day to realize that, oh yeah, maybe I should call them if they went okay, because I haven't received any message out of them. And they only get the message until somehow the parents or somebody, they just text message them. And God, they are oh my God, they're less attentive to their friends than the freaking Skylanders when it's about Cinder. And man, and I'm just kind of getting started on the stupidity that this movie has. What else do we got? I'm gonna ramble around. There is useless security guard, in which it starts out, you know, punching him, stuffing his face with a ham mayonnaise sandwich. That's how you're gonna make your character useless. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna keep on going, but the best part, I'm gonna leave it at least for last. Boy, that is worth talking about it at length. Before I go with more of the crazy things about this movie, let me at least get on the way of the technical aspect about this movie. Number 1, the script sucks. There are a lot of dialogue that is totally cringe-worthy. And sometimes even the kind of humor that they tried is so lame. A few of them are also kind of like try-hard puns. I think one of them that I remember is that they received a text message of the supposed killer who posted itself like the founder of the frat house where the misogynistic guy and the head misogynistic Carrie Always is. And one of the puns that it has under iPhone, it says, "What is the difference between a roasted pig and you?" No, what you? Sorry, I meant wrong. Is what you and a roast pig have in common is that both of you squeal when they die. Yeah, and there was even one of them that I don't remember, but it was even lamer than this one. And I think that 50% of the movie is basically feminist propaganda that is even more hammer than what they think that they did to The Last Jedi, I'll say. Because at least The Last Jedi, it's not some of the things were unintentional. This one felt like it was intentional in a way. For me, one of them is this character who one of the big lines that they wanted to tell her about her character is that, well, she's a fighter. Yeah, she's a fighter. I know that she's fighting for a just cause, but unfortunately, this kind of conflicts with the pacing of this movie, because most of the things that when they want to have them, you know, the moral of the story is not evenly fleshed out. Storytelling wise, you want to bring out kind of like a social commentary or on something, or a political agenda. You better make the research right and make sure that when you make it in a movie, doesn't feel like pandering, or doesn't feel like brainwashing, or you're just here, to feel for the characters. Because here's the thing: if you wanna, empathize with the characters, don't do it because of their ideals. Just because they have ideals doesn't mean that it's a great character. An ideal has to come from somewhere who really had the experience and the knowledge to find ways to make a change. It could be for the better, it could be for the worse, but still, that's how it attracts people. Let's take, for example, how about, hold on a second, I think I got one that is socially, that is a little bit political, but makes the message right. Oh yeah. Zootopia. If Zootopia could have been handled, badly, we could have seen it, as pandering or something like that. But it didn't do that, and became actually one of my favorite movies of Disney of all time, because we, as an audience, we grew attached to the experiences of our main leads, Judy and Nick. But what about Black Christmas 2019? No, they didn't. They just it's too much tell and not show. Especially with the main lead, who apparently she's a little bit into this, and it kind of showed that there was a promise out of it. It showed that she got this trauma because her ex-boyfriend raped her and all this stuff. But here's the thing, this is where it also comes out with the cinematography of this one. We don't get enough scenes or a moment to show why she has that. It's just only shown on brief flashbacks, and that's it. I mean, we can see, the trauma, like going to something like that, and that she is like that. It could have worked if it was done right. But what could have worked? If they could have a flashback, at least, of showing that she just, to flesh out, that probably she had a good time with him until he betrayed her. We didn't get that, at least. So technically all is seen, all rush and going on with the flow until the climax of the film, which it takes kind of like 45 minutes to get there during this boring phase exposition, and which once in a while you see the killers going into with 3 other girls, in which one of them, I swear that she's the human personification of Velma from Scooby-Doo. Oh yeah, and there's a cat, but don't worry, the cat is okay. Also, in technical level, the camera is garbage. The atmosphere is garbage. There's so much kind of like grim colors that doesn't feel right, and honestly, I know that they wanted to emulate, Black Christmas, in which it is kind of dark, and in a movie called Black Christmas, because for not every Christmas movie has to, be jolly, with bright colors and everything, kind of like Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a Christmas movie that is on the apocalypse, but still kind of have this jolly spirit. Not everything has to be like that. I know that they wanted to emulate, again, Black Christmas 1974, and a little dose of Silent Night, Deadly Night. But even Silent Night, Deadly Night felt Christmassy. Even Christmas is just kind of just there. It's just there. And there are some... also, the editing sucks. I really dislike the editing. There are some shots that are too close to the camera, especially there are some scenes in which they just move around, and I was just thinking of what the hell is going on? And because sometimes we move from one character to another, or sometimes from one place to another, I was just, what is going on? I just thoroughly get confused with the editing of this movie. And, well, I think I finally touch on, with the technological things about this movie. And now let's go with the biggest ham of this movie. And that is none other, of course, what they were trying to do. The big elephant in the room. And that is, of course, like I've been trying to pinpoint you. This movie really felt like they wanted to showcase, the empowerment of women who they want to go against, the rape generation, the rape squad. It's that there is a movie called Rape Squad that is also about women going against rapists. But man, in this one, they just wanted to tell you, yeah, that in order to be a fighter, you have to go around making petitions, which is, in my opinion, is a bold thing, but I think unfortunately petitions are kind of pointless, I'll say. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but petitions are worth a darn. I think the actions actions and doing something works more than just signing and saying that, hey, there's a lot of, here's people wanting that. But that's just me. It's because I haven't seen, in big, the power of petitions. And again, we have, the character, talking about it, talking about, man. I mean, it's these kind of men, the men that are technically, again, like Carrie Always and the guy named Brian, who is the misogynistic ex-boyfriend of the main character. What was the name of this guy? Yeah, he's played by Ryan McIntyre. Boy, that there was one particular. Let me tell you one thing, is that there's only two men who are actually kind of in the side of women, I'll tell you. One of them is kind of like the boyfriend of one of the girls, and he's kind of like the only guy who hangs around with the girls. This guy played by, you know what, Simon Need, I think he was called, and probably this is the only guy who actually is the one who feels offended during the whole thing when apparently the video of their lame sing-along, it went into YouTube, and the girl thinks that they're being targeted by the frat house, and they begin to talk, they begin to talk about men, and he's like, hey, not all men are like that, and they begin to kind of discuss it, and this is kind of becomes the point in which the girls are basically either unremarkable or unlikable in a way, so much that the guy even just goes away. And then there's also this guy who technically he was going to become the new love interest of the main character. Forgot to say that the new character is named Riley. Is kind of like this guy who is a total nerd. He's played by Caleb Eberhardt. He plays a guy named Landon. At the start, he's kind of like this meaty guy who he befriends her, but he just feels barely into the movie. That so much that the movie could have been done if he wasn't there. He's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just here and all this time. Yeah, go girl, and something like that. Oh my, this guy's acting is probably the worst. I'm pretty sure that this actor could be talented, but in this case, he's kind of like acting like what will happen if a kid isn't the first time on the camera and he doesn't even know what to do. So all this culminates with the climax. Because the climax is actually when I finally woke up of this boredom and began to laugh out at the insanity that this movie wanted to show. And now it's time for the wonderful spoilers. Yep, here goes. The thing is, what happens is that the frat house began to finally attack the remaining girls. And it's kind of like a long drawn out climax scene in which they're being chased. They kill off probably the only likable character on the movie. And they make, again, stupid decisions on getting separate. Oh, and I forgot to tell you this, guys. This movie, again, tries too hard paying homage to the 1974 Black Christmas, because the line that punched me in my face is when the character is saying, the killer is in the house. And I was like, oh! What else there is? One of the girls is killed in the attic. And here's the PG-13 bullshit moment of the year. In which, you know that in Black Christmas, the original one of the most iconic moments, and one of the biggest moments that is that one of the characters, the first victim, she gets killed by being suffocated by plastic by the killer. And during the whole movie, you see shots of her, dead, like covered in plastic on the head, like this. Well, you don't get that exactly, but one of the characters, this modern one guy with a plastic wrap. But there was this moment in the attic that is the biggest bullshit censorship for a PG-13 moment that there is. What happens is that, again, one of the characters goes to the attic, and we know that one of the characters got killed, another by a lame scare or something like that. And she got strangled by Christmas, how can I say, Christmas lights, the cords and everything. And this character, when she finds this character, she's like this. Giving her back. And it is pretty clear enough to see what the hell happened. But then she, grabs the body in which she's sitting on a chair. She finally, turns her over to see, a clear sight of her. But the moment she's just rotated into this position, just in the middle of, rotating her completely 180 degrees and showing that there's something gory in it, it cuts into the next scene. No! I swear that I saw that her face had an axe, planted on it. There is gonna be something gory on it. And no, because it's a PG-13 film. Yeah, this movie has a lot of, PG cuts. I mean, the first victim gets killed by an icicle. Apparently they just wanted to make homage to the other movie in which, again, she just gets killed by a falling icicle in the eye. Apparently icicles are deadly weapons now. Ah, man. So anyway, yeah, so another thing that happened, during the whole confusing scene is that out of nowhere, apparently, we finally get back, to this pudgy security guard who apparently gets a call, and apparently the movie wanted to say that, oh, we're clever. We're one of the characters who's almost dying, gives out the 911 call because she's dying, she's reaching the smartphone, and then the guy receives the call, and he's like, I'm on my way. And guess what? The editing is so bad that out of nowhere, the security guard apparently it goes into a house where other girls, are having, the same problem, and they're trying to kill off the guy. And the security guard is like, what the frick is happening? He gets killed by another guy on the back. And yeah, after all this, then we go back to the main two survivors of the sorority house. They discover something that is baffling, and probably the biggest proof that this idea was pretty much last minute. Get this. What happened is this. Apparently, this frat house cult, in which they show at the beginning of the movie, in which they have to their rituals. They apparently they smear their head with this. They're kind of like this this hexagon thing or triangle. What was the shape I was saying that? Yeah, it's kind of like a square, kind of like an inverted square on their head, in which, of course, they just have this shrine in which they just worship the bust of the founder. Well, apparently they say that the founder was also a misogynistic guy. Apparently, then that was established, in the first few minutes, during the hip hop, during the scene where they're preparing for the lame sing along. But then almost at the middle of the movie, it is revealed that when they get killed, they have black blood. They have black blood, and apparently these guys are, because of the cult, they are somehow possessed by demons. And my mind is like, movie, what are you doing? It's too late to bring out paranormal reasoning to everything that is going on. So yeah. So what do we got here? We got a frat house full of chauvinistic white people who they worshipped a bust of the founder, who was a misogynistic piece of garbage, and it is later revealed that it's because the bust, all of it has some goo that when you press about it, you're gonna also turn into a chauvinistic asshole. And when they get there, oh my god. So, movie, you're playing athletes at this moment. So yeah, we got the separation of the main character saying because one of the kind of apparently got all the answers, and the fighter is like, no, we're gonna go to the police. And how we're gonna explain this to the police? We already killed straight people, but it's self-defense. Oh yeah, self-defense and the black blood and all this stuff. And no, but we had to, keep it safe. No, we gotta go back to the sorority house and destroy the bus. No way, that's dangerous. I thought you were a fighter. There's a time and a place to pick up fights, but I'm not gonna go into that. So, oh yeah, and yeah, while our fighter, she goes into the other sorority house where she rescued, the surviving member, where the security guard got killed and all, and and there are some remains of the the cult guys. Then our main character Riley, she just goes around with a snow shovel, and then she finds her will-be boyfriend. He's like, hey, could you do me a favor? She just used this guy so he could destroy this. He could destroy the Christmas in the Christmas thing in the frat house, so they can distract the other guys, and they're like, hey guys, don't worry about it. You're gonna join us sooner or later, because apparently this guy has some there's psychic magic out of him that is possessing him somehow. And yeah, it is revealed when our main character reaches the bus, she finds out that one of the girls who apparently got killed, she's alive, but no, she was actually feigning, and she betrays her because she's kind of like the betrayal girl. And one of the things is that I don't buy, that kind of friendship, and I was like seeing out of nowhere, because at the beginning of the movie, they were kind of like, hey, we're kind of sister, not biological. I'm gonna share you, this hair comb, and then she disappears, and then she just appears out of nowhere, and then she says, "Oh, I'm betraying you, movie. You didn't earn it again. So in order to buy that, there's something about it." And then we finally get to the climax. We finally, they're in the room. We got everything in a row. Those guys in row. Even the head of the skull is none other than Carrie Elway. Because in this movie, he gives out some of the most phony British accent I could ever imagine. I don't know if he's British. I think he is, but he sounds like a technically really, really British guy. And here's what the movie wanted to do. This cult, apparently, they began to monologue about the problem that men are being accused by women when they didn't do nothing. And because they say that it is the order of nature that men should be king, women should be be slaves and all this stuff. They have they must know their place. And apparently the founder, he technically created this demonic goo in order so in order to prevent women to take power, because power should be for men. And they wanted to expand everything, starting from the frat house, then to college, then to the Congress, then to the world. And yeah, with the betrayed girl is because she said, "Oh, that I know my place," and now she kind of became their bimbo. If this was at the moment that you finally is like, so this is what was all about movie? Boy versus girl, SJW, feminist propaganda. That your heart might be in the right place, but that was a little bit too extreme. I've seen a Codename Kids Next Door episode that tackled that issue, and that was much better than what they did on that one. So apparently there, to make it kind of like short, the traitor girl, of course, she gets betrayed by the guys again, because why not? Then the other lead character appears, now with an army of the other surviving sorority girls, now armed with bows and arrows. Now she is a fighter. And then we got the literal battle of the sexes. No, seriously, it was kind of like the most it was a literal battle of the sexes. Men versus women fighting each other. Although out of the man, the best weapon they can get at this moment is those sorority house, frat house paddles. And then of course we got the final battle with our main lead with the douchebag ex-boyfriend, in which she apparently, the movie just tries to become a little bit symbolic by making slow motions, which this movie kind of happens, 3 times during that, in which she finally goes and then she goes to the bus. And Carrie Elway is like, hey, no, you don't know what you're doing. Oh yes, I do. Suck my. Because heaven forbid this movie wants to say suck my dick. And at this moment, I thought that they're gonna melt. They're gonna melt like. Ah! But apparently the movie is too cheap to do that, so there was kind of like this minor chaos. And did I forget to mention that the good boyfriend, the nerdy guy, he apparently was possessed by the goo, but apparently because of the power of, his goodness, he's like, he just comes out in the sense and he's like, I'm sorry, something came out to me, and I was like, shut up, dude, what was the point? I wanted, and no, nobody was melting, and that kind of, I don't know what this movie wanted to do. Was this goo, if they were possessed, usually, here's something that usually I found in, in fantasy stories, and even sometimes on demonology. When someone makes a contract with an angel or a demon, most of the time demons, their souls are usually linked to the source, and like it could be a book, a demon, or something like that. But when the source is destroyed, it could either break anyone who is linked to the curse or anything similar, or because their souls are technically bound on the contract of the source, they go along and they get destroyed by it. In this movie, didn't know what to do, or because I think the movie would have been clever if this whole goo was. I know this is gonna sound stupid. It's probably oil, and when if the bus gets destroyed, everyone like, ah! Oh wait, nothing happened. So our masochism or misogyny wasn't because of some goo or something like that. No. And you know what? Now that I think about it, that sounds too stupid for this movie. No, what happens is that they take the only good guy, then because everything is on fire, they lock the frat house guys in it. And then they watch the whole frat house burn, and they watch it, of course, with the only guy, and the movie ends. And and they give out kind of like a more techno or fixed rendition of that lame music. And apparently the movie wanted to play out clever because after the mid-credit sequence, they wanted to show a small scene in which the cat is licking the black blood of one of the victims. So the cat became a masochistic pig. I don't know, because then it's over, and there. Spoilers out. This movie exactly sucks for almost a lot of reasons. And I'm sorry if this is again one of those long reviews that I have to deal with. But I had to talk to you about, man, that this is probably one of the biggest what the frick movie I have seen this year. Although, I think the Midsommar was big what the frick. But Midsommar at least had this artsy moment of what the frick. this one was the what the frick moment of this, you know, how bad it is. It's so bad that it's technically unwatchable, and if people, you know, get the wrong idea and they say that, ugh, this movie offend me, I get it. Although some other can brush it out and saying, you know what, it's just a movie. Yeah, it's just a movie, just poorly made. It's just that, at least I'll say this. I'm glad that I watch it. I'm glad that I watch it because I'd rather have watched that instead of sitting my ass being tortured by seeing Jack Black in the Jumanji terrible. Sorry, it's that I hated the last Jumanji, and just because you guys are in love with Dwayne Johnson and Jack Black, we got a freaking goddamn sequel. No, Dwayne Johnson is fine, but not Jack Black. Maybe Kevin Hart, but Kevin Hart is a hit or miss thing. But anyway, yeah, Black Christmas, I don't recommend it to watch it on the movie theaters. I do, if you're out of curiosity's sake of how to do a female power movie bad, this is actually one of them. And that gave me a little bit more appreciation of what Star Wars was trying to do, you know, with the new trilogy. But there are some other, you know, movies with women on the lead and women power that are actually good, and it keeps on balance without, you know, making the other gender feel, feel like bad, or they're unneeded. Again, like I told you, Zootopia is one of them. As much that I don't like, as much that I have my issues with the DC universe, Wonder Woman is also pretty good, in my opinion, of course. Aliens, the Alien franchise is also one of them. Well, if you want to skip Aliens 3, or there's also Terminator 2, or if you're watching, or if it's about video games, Bayonetta. Bayonetta is also one of them. I'm showing you Bayonetta 2, but but anyway. Oh my god, there's so much women in media that is gonna take it's gonna take over all our video games. They're gonna take out the movies. They're gonna take out everything that we love for. Like, what we're gonna do? I know. I am joining the cult. Down with women!